carada! Hoje não tem detona, mas é por uma ótima causa. Nosso OK Team foi falar com a incrível e queridinha do OK, Melanie Martinez. Vamos ver o que essa boneca Pin-Up 50s tem pra nos contar? Meuzinha!
Growing up in Long Island, in Baldwin, was, it was like any other small town, like, it was alright. It definitely, like, shaped who I am now, like, all the experiences growing up in, like, high school and stuff like that, just, like, what I dealt with and, like, with, like, bullies and stuff like that, I think that, like, really shaped how I am now and, like, yeah. I always wondered, what it would be like to, like, go back and, like, meet people who, like, made fun of me for certain things, and like I've never actually done that. Although there's one person that recently I ran into and was probably like my biggest bully in my mind, and I recently, actually, he just was like at a music video shoot that I was doing because his dad was working there or whatever, but he was really sweet and like we're friends now. In his mind, he probably doesn't even know, like he probably has no idea how that affected me, but like, and in my mind I'm like, oh man, this really like hurt me, Now he's like grown up and you could tell it's just like, kids pick on each other, and like now I know that, but then I was like really hurt by it and stuff. My dad, listens to like everything, and I think that that's kind of how I started listening to music, and I always sang. I always loved singing since I was little, and I always wrote poetry, and eventually when I was like 14 I started kind of putting both together, and like I played guitar and I started like writing songs, kind of like forming little songs, and then eventually it got to the point where like that's all I wanted to do was like write music, and now that's all I want to do. So yeah. When I was 16, which is when I auditioned, I don't know, I kind of just saw like an ad online, and I was, used to like singing in my bathroom in Long Island and like, writing music by myself and no one could ever hear me, and just playing for my friends or my family or whatever. I don't know, I just saw like a little like thing on the computer, and I went to the open call, and it kind of got further and further, and I had no idea how it was going to turn out or how far I would go. I was just kind of excited to just like, explore something new and like go do something new, and I was in high school, so it was really exciting for me to like go to Los Angeles and not have to be, in school, because I hated school, like it was fun. It was definitely a great experience. After The Voice was kind of hard. During The Voice was hard for me because I'm a songwriter, and singing other people's songs didn't, fulfill me. I didn't feel like that was something that I wanted to do, So afterwards it was really hard. I would play shows and a lot of people would be like, sing Toxic, and I'd be like, no. I'd just be like, no. Eventually people, got the hint, and when people started coming to my shows, they were more excited to hear original music, and that really made me excited, and that's when I started kind of really focusing on writing, my EP and my album. I was really inspired by Toy Sounds with this album, and that kind of led into the direction of like focusing on the idea of kind of writing these children-themed songs, but having like a darker and like more mature message behind them, and I really loved that contrast, and that was something that I was really excited to like continue to do. And then eventually it got to the point where like, I realized like this character that like was me, but like I didn't realize that I was doing it. I didn't realize that I was like talking about myself. I was kind of just like, I don't know, it was interesting, but Crybaby is basically based off of me, and it's kind of just, her story, and we're very similar, but we're very different in our story. So like the way that we handle things is the exact same way, or the way that I think I would if I was in her situation, but there are a lot of things like her getting kidnapped by the big bad wolf and like poisoning him with milk and cookies, and I obviously didn't go through that. I think actually when I was younger, the songs I would write were a lot more dark and heavy, and they were really, really intense to listen to. Like, they weren't covered up by the whole like childhood facade. It was more just like the core. It was just all dark and all like, whoa, okay? Like, it's not something that, it's like, it was very like folk, and like it wasn't pop, and it was very, very different. It was me on my guitar writing like domestic violence, like sex trafficking. I was always like interested in kind of making people aware of things that weren't talked about a lot in music, and then eventually I kind of just started clinging to Toy Sounds, and then that led to like, thinking of themes that kind of related, and kind of just like built into this. Johnny in the music video is Brazilian, yes. And I had no idea that he was Brazilian until he came to the shoot and he had an accent, and I asked him where he's from and he told me Brazil, and I was like, that's crazy because I'm going there soon. I asked him if he could teach me anything so I could like say it at a show, you know, and like say hi and stuff, and I just like totally forgot. It was so hard. It's like, it's a really hard language to learn. I mean, at least for me, I don't know. I'm really bad at learning languages, so I don't know, but I want to learn one day. I love horror movies. I think that my favorite classic horror movie is probably The Shining. I would love to direct a horror movie. That's like probably one of my dreams eventually as I get older, you know, and I don't know, maybe even like incorporating music with that into like a film and stuff. I love making videos. I think it would be really cool to make a movie one day.
E essa foi a darkinha e sensacional Melanie Martinez.
Hi, I'm Melanie Martinez and you're watching OK OK. Please subscribe.
I feel it coming down my throat. Guess I better wash my mouth out with soap. Click and wish for another post. Now you gotta subscribe down below. I feel it coming, see some more. Guess you better subscribe here below. Click and wish for another post. Now you gotta subscribe down below.